Hello friends, my name is Kate. We are starting a series of lessons on polygonal modeling for beginners. In this video, you'll learn all about primitives in 3ds Max. Geometric primitives are basic parametric objects. They are located in the Create tab, Geometry subtab. Here you'll find all the standard primitives. In the drop-down menu, you can choose categories of primitives and other geometry creation tools offered by developers. We'll talk more about them later. To create a standard box, select it, hold down the left mouse button, create the base, then release the mouse button, and set the height of the shape. To change the parameters of the created model, go to the Modify tab. The box has parameters for length, width, height, and the number of segments. For example, let's set 5 segments on each side. They allow us to modify the shape of objects, and the number of segments affect the smoothness of bends. Let's see how it works. Open the modifier list and select the bend. Let's bend the box 90 degrees. Now let's reduce the number of segments. As you can see, the smoothness of the bend decreases, and without segments, the object cannot be bent at all. Next, let's take a look at the other primitives. The next group of primitives is based on rotation. Cone, sphere, geosphere, cylinder, tube, and torus. The settings for these objects are similar. They control their basic size and shape parameters. In the case of a cone, these parameters include the base radius, the top radius, and the height. As I mentioned in one of the previous tutorials, you can decrease the speed of changing parameters by holding Alt, and increase it by holding Ctrl. Next are the height segments, the cap segments, and the number of sides. The smooth parameter sums neighboring normals to create smooth surface, both in the viewport and in renders. The slice parameter allows you to slice at a specific angle, controlling the start and end angles of the slice. Next are the texture display settings. We'll talk about them in the upcoming lessons on creating materials. The other rotation objects have similar basic parameter settings, as well as some individual ones. Now pause the video and try to create several primitives on your own and modify their parameters to familiarize yourself with them. The geosphere stands out among rotating objects. It also is a sphere, but it has a different topology and consists of triangles. It's not often used in work. The next primitive we'll look at is the teapot. It's a more complex object and is useful for demonstration and experiments with shape, material representation, etc. It has settings for radius, number of segments, and smoothing. You can also customize the display of parts of the teapot. Next is the plane. It's a surface on which we can set the number of segments and some texture mapping parameters for rendering. We won't use these parameters, because we will configure them when creating materials. And the last object type is text. Font and text parameters are quite standard. You can experiment with these settings. The next interesting category is extended primitives. In reality, they are rarely useful, because knowledge of polygonal modeling tools can replace any primitive. But they are quite interesting shapes, so you can pause the video and explore them. Among the primitives, we'll mainly use the box, cylinder, sphere, and plane, because you can create anything with them. Friends, that's all for now. In the next lesson we'll learn about splines. Be sure to go out our Patreon at the link in the description and learn easily with Softschool.